welcome to this very, very special episode of Paula's Run Club with me, Paula Radcliffe.
And me, Christopher Thompson.
And we are honoured to be here we're going to call it your office, Brendan, right? We're here with Mr. Brendan Foster, Sir Brendan Foster.
He doesn't look sure if it is.
He's not sure if his son's going to argue if it's his office or not. But I think with that view over that bridge on the eve of that race, it has to be your office.
Thank you very much, Paula. It's very kind of you.
And we're also joined by John Caine, who has been with you from the beginning with the Great North Run. And we're going to hopefully have the honour of talking through some of the fun stories of that very first year and how you've grown it into probably the most iconic half marathon in the world that is on the bucket list of every athlete out there.
I wanted to ask you guys, firstly, what was it like waking up the morning in 1981 knowing what you're about to start? What was it like that was it like waking up Christmas morning, or was there a lot of pens in it? What was it like waking up?
Hang on a minute. It's 44 years ago. I can't even remember what it was like waking up this morning. So
We've got a letter somewhere that we can remind you. Where's the letter? We've not got the first letter.
Well,
because there's a story behind that, isn't there? Didn't you write to the council and say you might have some runners coming across the bridge?
Chief of Police.
Here we are.
There's a letter that you've obviously stolen from the boardroom, from the wall of the boardroom, which says, if I had my glasses on, I'd be able to read it properly. It says, we're planning to organise a fun run from Newcastle to South Shields across the Tyne Bridge. I have agreement from the BBC to organise the event, but would like your permission because we may need to close a few roads.
Maybe.
For our fun run.
And did you get a response?
Yeah, the response is at the bottom. We should probably cover it over because the police said it is not our policy to encourage events like this on the highway. And you know what? The trail then goes cold because that's the letter, that's the response, and then the next bit is the event happened.
We did it anyway.
And between there and the event happening, we don't know how it happened. We don't know. Well, I never knew how it happened.
Just for clarity, so you had 12,000 people take part in the first
12,000 entries.
And you didn't have permission to close the roads?
No. We didn't have police permission to close the highways.
Right.
The event happened, but the event happened. So the in-between bit, nobody's very sure about. But eventually, the event happened, and they ran across the Tyne Bridge. There were 12,000 of them. And we really didn't know what was going, because the biggest event before we launched the Great North Run in the UK was the National Cross Country Championships, and there were 1,300 runners, and he's charging across Parliament Hills, and we all used to go and stand at the top of the hill, probably like you did in your time, and we used to say, "Oh, look at all these, isn't this?" And people would take pictures and that. And then the first London Marathon happened a few weeks before the Great North Run, and they had 6,000 runners in London, which was unbelievable. And then the Great North Run happened a few weeks later, and we had 12,000 runners. And nobody, not only us, but nobody knew what that was going to look like, how they were going to behave, and how it was going to be organised. But John was the brains behind the organisation, honestly, seriously. I know he'll smile and he gets embarrassed, but I think I've been consistent over the years in saying that you organised it. I've never claimed to be the organiser. But at the end of the day, it was a huge impact event. And where we're sitting here now, looking over the rusty Tyne Bridge, the local newspaper, the editor, Phil Crowley, was fantastic in his approach, because he put a cameraman on the railway bridge there, took a picture of the runners coming over the Tyne Bridge, published it on the front page of the Journal, the local paper. And in those days, papers didn't have massive pictures on the front, never, it was all about news. 11 o'clock that night, he came knocking on my door with the print of the first paper off the stocks. And he handed it across to me and he said, "I think you might have started something here." So that was the start, and we did an interview straight afterwards, and the press was saying, "Come on, then, what's the deal?" Because we only had plans to do it once. We didn't have any more plans, and they were saying, "What are you going to do?" But I said, "Well, look at all these people, look at the demand, look at we've got to do it again. We can't not. So that was how it started, and that was how it happened.
But
It's amazing.
But how did because what I looked and I saw this and I thought it was a really nice story about the bridge had never been shut since it was opened.
Yeah,
right from
that's
King
right.
George V.
1928.
1928. So that's the first time like anyone had run across it. Or
Well, it was
done
the first
anything.
time it had been closed. The last time it was closed to traffic was for the official opening when the King came with all the dignitaries and closed the bridge for the ceremonial opening. It had been open a few weeks or months before that. Then they shut it all down. He officially opened it. The next time it was closed to traffic was the Great North Run in 1981.
And then every year since then.
Every year since.
And you're notorious for being absolutely everywhere on race day, and I imagine in the weeks and months before the race as well. On that first one, where were you? Were you at the start and finish? Or?
Well, to go back to Chris's first question, what was it like when you woke up that morning? And it was a bit terrifying. He slept soundly, but I promise you, in my house, it was a bit terrifying.
Why?
Well, for the very reason that you've just explained. You know, we've never had a race this big. We don't know what it'll look like. We don't know what they will do. What could go wrong?
Did you have an idea of how many people were going to turn up?
Well, yeah, we knew how many.
Yeah.
We knew how many entries we had. We had no idea what the dropout rate would be, either not turning up or not finishing. I was more concerned with sort of getting the baggage to the finish and controlling the start and loads of things, and we were utterly naive. We made so many errors in the first year. Well meant, we thought we were doing great things.
You never told me that.
And you asked me.
You taught me that. Never admit when you're wrong.
Yeah. You asked me where was I and what was I doing. I was at the start line, watching the gun go off, and there's a photograph of the start of the very first Great North Run. The back of my head, just going bald, is in the shot, watching these runners. We had no modern communications. We couldn't communicate with the guy at the finish. Max Colby, who was in charge of the route and the medical support, he had a member of the Royal Signals Regiment glued to him all day with a massive radio backpack and one of those 10-foot wire aerials sticking out. He was sending messages to a relay station halfway down the course, who then relayed a message to the soldier at the finish, who then found the finish director and told him what the message was. Wow. And the message from Dave Roberts at the start was, "Johnny, there's 12,000 on the way to you. I'm finished now." And that was it. Wow. That was it. So, and then I had to get to the finish. I was like race director. And I watched them all running past. So the road is totally blocked. I had a police car, took me in the back lanes of Newcastle down to the quayside, jumped on the River Police launch, and they went down the Tyne all the way to South Shields. There was a
You should still do that now.
There was a police car waiting for me at that end to take me to the finish, and I got there like 30 seconds before Mike McLeod finished.
Wow.
And that means you were 9 minutes ahead of me.
Because you ran it.
I ran.
Yeah.
How did you, I was going to say, oh, right.
So what time did you run it in, bro?
69 minutes. Wow. And the best thing about it was Crammy was getting ready to run the
81.
81. He was track, top, becoming a star track runner. He was running races later in the year. This was in June. He had other track events to do, but because the magnetism of the event had already taken hold, he entered. Crammy entered, came and ran, and he said, "I'm just going to jog down the road." On a Sunday morning, I always have go for a 10 or a 20-mile run. So off the race goes, and Crammy's not in anybody's mind because I'm running down the road and I'm absolutely knackered. I'd retired a year earlier, and so I was still in reasonable shape, but I was running wrong. And Mike McLeod was way ahead down the road, and they were racing each other down there. And then I'm running along, and the people are shouting, "Go on, Bren, keep going, and you're doing all right." And suddenly I just hear these footsteps behind me, and it's Crammy who's suddenly decided, "Hey, this is all right. I'll
push on.
Push on. Go a bit quicker." It suddenly sees me, Oh, right, I tell you what. So there, Crammy comes after me. We're running along, and he starts chatting.
It's not like him, is it?
He's talking. He's running easily, and I'm knackered. And he's talking to me. And I said, the only thing I remember, I said, Steve, just going to shut up, will you? and go away and
Go away.
I'm going to thank you for that, because he ended up running slower than I've run on the Great North, so that's still my...
Yeah.
I've run faster than Crammy over the Great North.
He must have run about 60 or 68 minutes or something like that.
I think he said he got down to... Did he get down to 66 or 67? But he did start way back, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't start. He started way back, but he was going out for a Sunday morning run, and he suddenly, this is pretty good. Oh, go on, Steve, keep going and all that. And then he's suddenly picking up pace, and whatever anybody says about Crammy, he was a talented runner. He was a great runner. He was great from the lower distances, but he could have done any. Say he had a few injury problems, but he could have done. He was an outstanding runner. I always used to say about Crammy that if you didn't allow people to go training, nobody could train and they could run. And Crammy would have won the Olympics, would have broken all the world records, and would have run similar times to what he did anyway, because he was a great,
unbelievably
great
talented.
Talent,
But the idea for that Great North was born out of you running in New Zealand, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was in New Zealand training for the 1980 Olympics, and Dave Moorcroft and I were down in Hamilton, and I went across there and ran a marathon, my only marathon I ever did. And Paula ran faster, I know.
He put it in before me.
Yeah, that was one of her setup asking what you ran. Yeah, there you go.
Well, she
preempted it.
She's a bit predictable. You know?
Is this Paula's Pump My Tyres podcast?
Anyway, so we went down there, and Dave and I ran the marathon, and Dave and his family and my kids came and watched, and then we camped in for 3 months down in Hamilton. The guy that organised the marathon was associated with the guys that organised this Round the Bays race in New Zealand. So he rang up, he said, would you and Dave like to come up and run Round the Bays? What's that? How far is it? And all that. So it was about 12k. So we went up together, and it started, this event that we'd never heard of, started in the middle of the city of Auckland, and it went out of Auckland and along the coast and finished on the beach. And Dave and I ran this, and we were running pretty quickly, but there were loads of people. There were kids on bikes, and there were people on roller skates and everything. But it was a massive, massive event. And I remember standing on the start line, and there was this bloke standing on the rostrum who was going to start the run. And I said, "Who's that?" And Dave didn't know. And this New Zealand guy said, "Oh, that's the Prime Minister." Bloody Prime Minister! It must be a big event, this, if the Prime Minister's here starting it. And there were about 10, 12,000 runners in this thing. Wow. So we set off 12k along the seafront on a beautiful day in the great city of Auckland, finished on the beach, and everybody had tents. Each company had their own tent, and it was brilliant. And I said a day when we were halfway along, I said, "I'll tell you what, this is fantastic. When I get home and retire after the Olympics, I'm going to organise something like that in the northeast." And that was the idea. That's where the idea came from. And Dave was there. Dave will tell you that's exactly the conversation. And then when he rings up, which he often does, and he talks about, he says, "Can't believe where all that came from." But it was a great idea in New Zealand, and New Zealand, Auckland, really being the home of distance running, because that's where Arthur Lydiard was a physiotherapist, and when he was a physio, he got in real trouble as a physio, because he used to take the people who had heart operations and heart attacks, and he used to get them out of bed when they'd had the operations, get them out of bed as quick as he could, and go walking and jogging and eventually running. So he then formed the Auckland Joggers Club, and then the Auckland Joggers Club decided, this is a good thing, this running thing, let's get a few more people doing it. And then they started, which grew from 400 or something to about 12,000. Wow. So that, if you go back to the sort of genesis of long distance running and long distance training for running, then you can actually track it to a little physiotherapy department in Auckland, where this guy coached Peter Snell and Murray Halberg and Barry McGee, these great New Zealand runners. He was the physio. He coached these great athletes. Peter Snell was running 100 miles a week and running the 800 metres, and he was built like an ox, but he was probably when you look at him in action, he was probably the finest distance runner in style and power that I'd ever seen, and we all loved the black vest in New Zealand, so it was a bit romantic, and it was, you know, and it bore, the roots there bore people like you, Paula, and you, your training. Well, you asked me the question.
No. You look like you were struggling to remember my name. That's why I said.
Who's it?
Yeah, exactly. It's Paula's wrong club, right? And what are you doing? Sorry.
Well, I couldn't remember if you were any good or not. So. Anyway, but basically, it's the pure genesis of proper distance running. You know, Gabriel Selassie and all these runners were based on, as you both were, on that 100 miles a week, long slow distance running, and it had its source there in Auckland, and the Great North Run has its sort of heritage in Auckland. So yeah,
which is, and you couldn't ever have imagined it would grow to what it is, to what Great Run is.
No
now,
way.
From
No way.
the very first
But
one.
when you came back, because I saw you sort of video about how you sat John down in a pub to say this idea.
it's the only place you can find him. Actually.
Wait. Fair. But what was it like for you hearing when he was telling you what was going through your head? Like, we're going to make this happen here in Newcastle. How did you react to that?
Well, he and I were working together at Gateshead Council. He was head of leisure services, and I was stadium manager. And one of the other guys, Dave Roberts, who was the chap in charge of the start, he was working there as well. And he came back, and we used to run at lunchtimes after the Olympics, and we said, I've got to tell you about this idea that I've had and I'm cooking up. So you chat about it, and then off he goes and starts thinking a bit more about it, and then convenes a meeting with 5 of us at a local hotel room, and we've reenacted that meeting in the same hotel room. And it was, this is my idea, this is my vision, are you up for it? And the only thing we had in common, we were all distance runners and we were all members of Gateshead Harriers. 3 of us worked for Gateshead Council. One guy was a school teacher in Sunderland, and the other one was a local government officer in Darlington, but we were all members of Gateshead Harriers. 1 year later, we were all working for Nike UK, and we were organising the second Great North Run. So the first one, and we divvied up the responsibilities. I've forgotten what yours was.
He thought the idea.
I was race director.
He's quite forgetful.
We had a guy running the start, a guy organising the finish, and a guy organising the route.
So it was just to run it then, was it?
Oh, just a runner, yeah.
Oh, there are some.
Get some people there.
There are some wonderful stories of his contributions to the practicality of organising the event.
The other thing you got to remember about him is these tales, like Hans Christian Andersen.
Right.
They get. I mean, I've been hearing him for years. They're getting better. His role is getting like.
I tell you,
He's got some very. We're going to get into that in a little bit.
This guy thinks that I embroider the truth. He made the bio tapestry. I've got this vision, and here, guys, can we make this vision happen? And it worked, and it did. Yeah. But like a week or 2 weeks before the event, when we convened in our sponsor, who was a local company on an industrial estate in Gateshead, we convened in their works canteen over the weekend of Saturday and into Sunday to pack all the race kits, all the packs, and put the labels on and put everything in and ship them out. And it was, where's Bren? And he was at York Races with the chief executive of the sponsors.
See, he doesn't never understand.
There was your title then.
Yeah, but he never understands the
ideas and commerce. He had to get sponsors, he had to get the broadcasting and the promotion of the event and have the idea.
So now that small core team.
No, it hasn't changed.
Huge team.
Yeah.
It is still, I think
hasn't
seriously,
changed.
it is that friendship and it is that trust.
Sure.
That you can you can dump it all on him.
He would have walked into the England rugby team. He had the longest pass from the base of the scrum in history. Out to the winger, never mind the standoff. Straight out to the winger. Right, I'm done. Goes for a try.
Tell that story about the rugby. Tell the rugby story.
Which one are you on?
About the when we went to the East India Club to persuade the
England rugby team.
RFU.
When we worked at Nike, I know we're getting off the agenda slightly.
That's not a problem.
But we were working at Nike, and again, bit of vision. Running products were going well. We were deep into the market, biting big chunks out of Adidas's dominance in the UK, and then started branching into soccer, and as the Americans call them, cleated footwear. Yeah. In the meantime, in the Americans, they're like making basketball boots and, you know, taking over the world with basketball over there. So he wanted us to get involved supplying kit to the England rugby team. And he made the necessary introductions and appointments. But one thing he did say to the management structure at the RFU, if the players do not want to wear our boots, we're happy. If they vote and say, it doesn't matter how much we pay for sponsorship, anything like that. If they say, no, they're crap, we don't want to wear them, we want to stay with what we've got, then we're not doing it. We're not going to force people to wear boots.
Yeah.
So they said, right, well, let's come and address the team. So he and I met with the team, and we didn't have a product to show them.
No, we met with the RFU committee in the East India Club. There was like 40 or 50 of them, old what did Will Carlin call them? Old
farts. And he had in his hand a basketball boot, and he says, this is good enough for Michael Jordan, the MVP of the dream team at the 84 Olympics, right? He says, they're good enough for him. These high-top shark boots are what the best footballers, US footballers, wear in America on the AstroTurf. These are the boots that Ian Rush wears for Liverpool. He's just won the Golden Boot. Do you think we can't make basketball boots, rugby boots? And it was like, oh yeah, fantastic. And well done, Bren, yeah, we'll go with that. We came out of that meeting and he had these boots in his hand and he says, here, Caine, catch. I don't
make a rugby boot.
I don't ever want to see that again and meet with those guys again. You sort it out.
Hang on.
So we get the...
Hang on, do you think I could have made a rugby boot?
Neither could I.
I mean...
I'm trusting there are some people at Nike that could make a good rugby boot.
Not then, they weren't.
Not then, they
They
weren't.
made rugby boots.
And they never made a rugby boot in their life.
We bought a factory in Yorkshire
In Heckmondwike.
to make boots.
And the
you
boot
get
was
some
successful? It worked?
I don't... Hang on.
No, not the first ones. I had to go.
These, I mean, these are getting better, these stories, by the way. They're nearly accurate.
I had to go to the England training squad camp with like a carload of high top boots, low cut boots. The low cuts were not a problem because footballers had been wearing them, and they were like sold on that. Good enough for Ian Rush at Liverpool, they're good enough for me. But the high tops and the stresses that these boots had to undergo in scrummaging, and they were falling apart. The sole plates were coming off, they were ripping, they were bursting, and it was like I was taking the shoe dog with me, the guy who sort of had to design them, modify them, make the prototypes. He came to these training sessions and saw what was going on. He says, "Oh, right, back to the drawing board, right, binding bloody sticky tape around them to hold them together for the session." But we got there, and within months, not years, within months, we were producing viable rugby boots that the England rugby team were wearing.
Hang on. What about Murrayfield?
Are you talking about Dusty Hare?
And I'm talking about the forwards. We were at Murrayfield, England playing Scotland. We've given them. I've been not involved. He said, "Come to the match." We'll go to the match. And England are playing Scotland at Murrayfield in the Calcutta Cup, and it's whatever, they hadn't won it for years or whatever. And we're standing watching, and then the big backs are coming off the field.
The forwards.
Forwards, I mean, coming off the field and going back on. And I thought, John, what's going on here? And apparently the boots were snapping.
Oh,
you know how you substitute players? Yeah. Well, we were substituting boots.
So they come on they kept coming back and forward, and it didn't seem to affect because they were winning penalties and that. And then the kicks started. Dusty Hare fullback, great England rugby player, and he misses his first one in his new Nike boots. He misses his second one, and by the time it came to like his fifth or sixth one, we're in there. I'm standing with my back to them. Caine, tell me how he's doing. Just like the Man United manager who can't watch the penalties. I couldn't watch it.
Dusty hair.
So he misses like 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7 of these kicks.
And you can imagine what the headlines would be.
So the next day's headlines in the Sunday Times, Dusty hair with his Nike contract, because Adidas were the flavour of the month at the time, and they'd been squeezed out of this deal for lots of reasons. But anyway, Dusty misses these kicks, and England lose the Calcutta Cup. Scotland win the Calcutta Cup. So that's front, back page, and it's all stuff. But the night before, so that's the press. The night before, we're at the reception, and
the night after the game, man.
The night after the game,
yeah.
But the night before, the newspaper.
Oh yeah.
And across the far side of the room, Dusty Hare's there with the England team. And suddenly he starts walking across the room, and I'm going, oh my God, no. So he comes across, and he comes rushing up to us and says, I'm really sorry. No, we're saying, hey, Dusty, we're really sorry.
He says, no,
didn't work.
You don't know the story.
He says, they weren't your boots. I just didn't have the confidence to wear a new pair of boots kicking for England. So I wore my regular Adidas boots, took them to the cobblers, took the 3 stripes off,
put the swooshes on.
Put the swoosh on, and I was kicking in my Adidas boots. So he says, it wasn't your fault at all, it was my fault. He says, I was kicking badly.
Oh.
So that
and I tell you, what a gent.
Yeah.
And that takes balls.
Yeah.
He says, you got all the criticism, but it was my fault, not yours. And when he took these Nike boots to the cobblers with his Adidas ones and told them what he wanted, and the cobbler had said to him, why do you want to do that? He says, these are fabulous boots.
So talking of changing shoes.
Yeah. So John, I think, were you running with him?
Bren persuaded Kevin via Keegan, the manager of, he persuaded him via Laurie McMenemy.
No. Kevin and I were doing a television series together for the BBC. Super Kids, it was a kids programme. And after we used to go and do these things with these kids, like Superstars for Kids. And every night we'd go all over the country with this, but after every event, we're out having a run. Kevin was a good runner. He was England captain at the time, and so he and I'd be out running, and I'm saying, "Hey, Kevin, because I was just retired and I was still training regularly, and he was running well, and I said, Kevin, you're a bloody good runner, He said, well, I like running, I could run a good mile and all that. I said, well, could you run a half marathon? Well, for that 13 months, yeah. Well, I think I might, yeah. So eventually he decided he would come and join us and run the Great North Run. And if you just throw you back in time, he was the most famous footballer in the country. He was a legend. Yeah. And in those days, and this was the first Great North Run, they didn't have celebrity runners. There weren't, because there hadn't been any events to have celebrity runners in. So in my view, Kevin was the first celebrity runner ever. But we started in a pretty high place with the England captain, and he's a wise guy, Kevin. So he comes, he says to me, I said, what do you want to wear? He says, well,
you were playing for Southampton at the time, weren't you?
Southampton, and he said, I'll tell you what, look, when I go up there, he said, I don't want to be one side or the other. So can you make me a shirt with the Newcastle stripes on one side, the Sunderland stripes on the other? And he ran in that. So that was Kevin's idea, and he went down the road, and he was the England captain. He played for Southampton. He loved the North East. His family were from the North. His grandfather was from the North
Stanley,
East.
yeah.
And so Kevin was welcomed here. They loved him as an England captain. Then he came and he invented, I think, celebrity running in mass participation events. And the story is even wider than that.
So
but he ran in his football training shoes, just black trainers, and he was contracted to Patrick at the time, the French brand. And he ran, and at round about 8 or 9 miles, he started getting blisters, really bad ones. And he was asking people on the side of the road, what size do you take? And he was looking at the feet, and he saw this kid in a pair of Adidas trainers. What size are they? They were his size. So he swapped this kid his football trainers for a pair of running shoes. And that little photograph at the bottom shows he's wearing Adidas trainers, and they were the shoes that he swapped from the kid. And decades later, we found the guy who had been the kid, and he still had Kevin Keegan's football trainers.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, he kept them.
I bet Kevin didn't keep the trainers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they reunite at all, Kevin and...
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, we brought them together.
Brought them together.
Was it the
Hall of Fame thing?
Was it the 30th or something? I can't remember. It was, yeah.
So it is a very...
That's ridiculously impressive, because again, like, he's such... That's one of the things, like, listening to you, and I'm sure everyone listening at home, just the rawness and the romantic nature of how this event was created, born, and continues to be. And I think that, for me, is part of what makes GNR so awesome.
And the fact that it's a family, and it's a bunch of friends that just basically built it up from nothing. And I think those are my memories, and I think I wasn't there right in the beginning, but I have been watching them for a long, long time and been involved in them since we used to drive up to do the Durham cross country.
That's right.
And come up, and then Balmoral. I'm going to take it to Balmoral, because that is, for me, the illustration.
You're going to go there with that story.
Well, not quite that one, but just how hard everybody in the team works. Because the first year that we went to Balmoral, I can't even imagine how hard Brendan had to work to be able to run 5 miles on the Queen's Estate in Balmoral. But it was a surreal, special venue to be able to race on. And it snowed the morning of the race. And I have vivid, clear memories of John and a couple of others, but mainly John, out there sweeping the snow off the route so that we could get down.
Well, it wasn't a public highway, it was private roads. So, you know, the council truck didn't come off and plough it away.
And it's like when Ailish came on and I was chatting to her, at one point you had Prince William and Harry
building a snowman
beside the route, and you've got John Caine sweeping off the snow, and then I don't think the guys were expecting...
The royal princes not help you?
Yeah, they never got it.
He was sweeping it over there so they could add to their snowman.
But the story behind the two princes, the cameras were set up with the big shot of Balmoral Castle where the runners were going to run across the front. And the two princes came out, and they went up to the cameraman and said, "Excuse me, is it all right if we build a snowman here on the lawn?" And the cameraman says, "Just a minute," and sort of on talk back to the studio, to the director, says, "Hey, I've got the two princes here, want to know if they can build a snowman on their lawn." He says, "What do I do?" He says, and like, "Fill your boots with it, for Christ's sake, get it on camera." Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And so, they did, and it was, here we are in Balmoral, it's snowing, isn't it wonderful? And we've got Prince Harry and Prince William building their snowman, opening the programme.
And was that the one?
That was the one when
was that the world record?
5 miles, yeah.
Yeah, for 5 miles.
Yeah, on that was the first one.
That was the first one.
Right,
yeah.
Because then I think I did the second year, but the second year we were a bit more prepared. I don't think anyone was expecting it the first year.
That's right.
No,
and that's when you reminded me of the story where... So
the drug testing procedure.
When you set a world record, you have to have drug tested, and it has to be carried out officially as requested by the IAAF, and it has to be done. I think you only have, it's less than 12 hours, isn't it?
Yeah.
The finish of the race. So we didn't have anyone, and we're in Balmoral, which is kind of in the middle
remote.
of nowhere. And so I don't know who must have got on the phone to the IAAF at the time, and I'd forgotten about this, but as John said, I had to have Sue Barker, who was there with the TV, as my chaperone and witness going into the bathroom to be able to provide the sample, which John then had to take into the chain of custody and put in his fridge at home.
And then get it to the IAAF.
That is ridiculous. I wonder if Sue remembers that. I'd assume she would remember that.
She will.
Yes,
She will.
It's huge for me.
We haven't got much longer left, so I wanted to quickly, before we wrap up, ask. It's quite apt. I saw that video about you guys doing the do's and don'ts, and I loved the ones you wrote. There was a couple of my favourites,
Go on, remind me.
Well, do you not remember there's something?
I can remember it, but I can't remember all the detail. I don't know what you're going to drop on my lap.
You can't remember much detail.
In your first year, you put a booklet together. And I do think some of them are really apt for today. But one of my favourite ones, and I was going to ask if you can remember any others, was, "Don't wear tatty clothes that will wear out before you do." I absolutely
Yeah, make sure your kit isn't going to fall to bits.
But there was another one.
Yeah, but people would turn up to do a run in plimsolls
Yes.
and football
Yes.
kit.
Yes.
And in the Great North Run, the first one, lots of people were running in ordinary street shoes.
Yeah.
Because trainers weren't a big deal. I mean, the
Yeah.
plimsolls with a Dunlop Green Flash with a Adidas had the Gazelle was a train. There was Tiger Cubs were like
They were just glorified plimsolls.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, the legends there are loads of story. A little boy, a 10-year-old boy, was standing on the Tyne Bridge watching the runners go past, and joined in.
Oh, wow.
And mum's like, oh, he's going to run to the other end of the Tyne Bridge or whatever. He kept going.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Imagine that mum panicking there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't even call the finish to ask the
We had a guy
finish.
came. Not in the first one. In one of the later ones, we had a guy came on the train from King's Cross to Newcastle on the morning of the race, dressed in a full gorilla suit, running the Great North Run. Got off the train, went up to the start line in his gorilla suit with his number pinned on, and joins the queue of runners waiting to cross the start line. And before he gets to the start line, he shouts to one of the staff, can you get this to the finish for me? And threw him his wallet. Which, and I mean, there was only one gorilla in a suit. And he runs 13 miles, and that wallet, with all his train tickets and his credit cards and what have you in it, made its way to the finish line with a police motorcycle doing its job. But when he got there, handed this wallet, and it says, this belongs to the guy in the gorilla suit. And he was reunited with his gorilla suit. He got on the metro, came back to Newcastle, got on the train and went back to London and never changed his gorilla suit.
Oh my goodness.
That's what?
Wow. So if you want to tune in for the John Caine Stories of Romance from the Great North Run, next week will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
No,
We
but
could
seriously,
listen to you all day
we
with
could
it.
talk to you forever. and there's so many stories that would keep coming
Well,
up. But I think the
you
biggest...
do next week? Doing
We have to. We're going to do another episode. We're going to keep in your office that isn't your office anymore, but we're going to stay.
What you could do is whenever you're doing these things, fly them in, give you 2 or 3 stories, and fly them back out. It'll be fine.
And it's goodbye from the Waldorf and Statler show. You know who they are?
And by the way,
The two old guys.
Oh.
The 2 old guys from the Muppet Show on the
I was gonna
balcony.
say, from the
Waldorf and
Yes,
Statler.
I do know.
speak for yourself.
But seriously, thank you and thank you guys for having this idea and growing it into this, because, like I say, for every British runner, it is something special to be able to come and be a part of the Great North Run. So thank you for having that idea, and thanks, John, for doing all the work and bringing it.
By the way, thank you for coming and winning it and gracing it with your play.
Yeah. And Thommo didn't do too badly in it
Thanks
as
for
well.
just showing up.
Who's he? Who's the other
He's
fella?
running it tomorrow.
Seriously, how many times have you run it?
Do you know what?
Oh
Sunday-
no, you're not going to...
No, Sunday will be my 50th Great Run event.
Is that right?
It's going to be I'm on 49, so Sunday will be my 50th.
Oh, and now you just
But
tell
of
us
the
that.
Great North Run?
No.
I know, but how many have you done of the Great North?
Oh, of the Great... I'd have to add it up, but I couldn't, like, Bashir couldn't remember. I want to say 4 or 5, maybe.
Oh, right, that's acceptable.
Is that okay?
Who's this guy?
Hey, careful. He's done 50 of our events.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's a
Hey,
nice guy.
he's called a customer.
That's good.
Do you nice to him?
How many have you properly entered?
Hey, welcome to the head office of the event you've graced over many years. Thank you very much indeed. What's his name again?
When did this turn into the roast of me? Thank you. Well, it's always a special thing as well, because I was born in 1981, so I feel like I've kind of mirrored the event in that sense.
yeah.
So
Gone
you were
full circle.
Just there for the first one, because it was June, the first one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it was June. Oh, yeah, it was
So
April,
you
so I
were-
was 2
you were
months
just-
old. Yeah.
Well, hey, I ain't breastfeeding you.
What he didn't tell you, because he's a bit modest, but when the King George VI closed the Tyne Bridge for the first time, the only time before the Great North Run, 1928, John's dad brought him down there to watch the first opening of the Tyne Bridge.
Yeah, that makes me 96. 97. Thank you, Brett. I'll do the same for you.
What's his name, that guy?
is gonna be a running theme now for the rest of my life. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, Chris. Honestly,
Absolute pleasure.
No,
it was pleasure.
You really, we know how busy you are, so thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Well, that was brilliant from the two Muppets there. Thank you so much to them for joining
That was
us.
brutal.
No.
They said it
but
themselves, to be
seriously,
fair. Yeah.
I really do, honestly. We have the honours board every week, and I would like to put Brendan and
Totally
John
agree.
Caine and
Totally agree.
those original 5, the famous 5 from the beginning, up there on that honours board for starting this event and creating the magic that is now the Great North Run that everybody knows about across the country. So we're going to put them on the honours board. We also have, remember, the shout out to all of the people who ran in the Sydney Marathon last week, particularly Nicola Carragher, Adele Roberts, Sophie Rayworth, that we're hoping to have on the podcast, but the two before Nicola and Adele we had on, they completed the 7.
They got the 7,
got the first of that iconic 7-star medal.
Well, I was wondering how many would get it, and to have 2 previous guests achieve it, it's pretty cool. But
so very well done to them, and to Savannah Sand. I think we've got to put her on there as well for the way that she won that race and the way she closed it, and phenomenally quick.
I think that could be a championship record that stands for a while. And also Tom Evans, UTMB winner, incredible performance there. There's been some incredible performances, and when this goes out, anyone that ran the Great North Run, congratulations to all of them, all 60,000 of you, and all the different stories. Just a very busy week.
Including yourself, because apparently you're going to make it 50 Great Run events.
Yes, it will be my 50th.
Tomorrow.
Yes,
I've got to because you've got to get to the
I have to, otherwise I won't make my train, so otherwise I'll be stuck, and I need to get the car key back home. But yes, so yes, I'm looking forward to it as well, because I'll be out there, as you know, talking to people, trying to get as much engagement from people and hearing their stories and stuff. So I'm looking forward to making it my 50th. It seems a lot, but now I've got to get to 100.
Well, there's a challenge for you. There is a challenge. If you add up, if you use the ice bath, you might be able to get it up to that challenge. I've got it in again.
Yes.
But so how many of that events? That's the Great Manchester, the Great Birmingham, Great South.
There's a lot. There's some that there's Yorkshire in there, South, Birmingham, Manchester, the cross country, Edinburgh Cross.
So you're adding all of those in?
Yeah, all the different Great Run series. It's not 50 Great
I'm going to
North
go
runs.
away now. That's my homework and work out
how many you've done.
Because I've no idea.
Well, what would we guess?
I've actually, what did we say? 4 Great Norths. There's a lot of Great North cross countries, but I was also running it before it was the Great North cross country, so I don't know where that changeover happened.
Well, the good question: how many different ones have you won? You've run North, South. Manchester?
Never ran Manchester.
So you've won 2 of them. So that will be a good one for you to figure out how many you've won. But
but the memories of it, I think, will be always something special. As I said, because I grew up through the cross country and then graduated from watching the Great North Great North Run, on TV. Graduated to actually racing in it, and you are prepared for it. But it's a bit like the London Marathon. Nothing prepares you for how great it's going to feel out there on the roads. And
no, exactly.
Well,
we'll talk, I think, because of the way this is going to work, I think we're going to capture some more of our personal memories in the next episode, because this will go across 2 episodes, and exciting guest in Bashir coming out next time. But I think we could make so many episodes across the Great North Run, so maybe we save up some for next year.
Yeah, but because I do want to get to now, we also have a short interview with Kim McGinness, who's North East Mayor, just about the impact, because I do think that's the thing that is most special about the Great North Run. You speak to anybody from the North East and they'll say it's our race. It's about our region, and it represents us, and that's why I think so many people want to be a part of it. And so that's why I think it's great to get into the interview with Kim and hear from how she has taken part in the Great North Run, from not being a runner, she's not, because of what it is.
She actually gets stuck in. She's down to what they just say, 2 mayors left, 5 last year, 2 this year, in terms of who run it, should I say. She gets her hands dirty and gets stuck in there, and is with the people, running with the people, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Exactly. And now let's hear from her. So Kim McGinness, North East Mayor, and last year was for the first time we had the mayors of the North, and there were 5 of you running, but hats off to you, because there are only 2 this year and you're one of them.
Yeah, there's only 2. So we had 5 mares run last year. We've lost 3. They are still
They're
mares.
okay.
They are still mares. But myself and Oliver Coppard, who's South Yorkshire mare, are taking on the course tomorrow. And hopefully we'll do all right.
And big lessons from last year, because you did enjoy it. You did come out of it and enjoy it last year.
Oh, I did, yeah. And it was a massive privilege last year because I'd not long since been elected, and I ran number 1, which was, I mean, you know, what an absolute honour to be the biggest half marathon in the world, the best place in the world. Obviously, I would say that, and I got to run number 1. So it's the only way I'll ever win the Great North Run, is to start with 1 on my vest. And it was amazing. And I've done it 1 time before that. So this time my training hasn't been quite as intense.
You still the same coach? Because we give a little nod to your coach. Crammy did give you some training advice.
I did have some pretty good advice from Steve Cram. It's a small world, the Northeast, and we all know each other. And so I followed the same thing again this year. But if I said I'd done it to a T, I would definitely be fibbing. So we'll see. I will move for 13.1 miles tomorrow.
Excellent. And enjoy a lot of it.
14.1.
No, she will keep moving for 13.1 miles.
Oh, I thought you said. I thought you said you can move for 14.1. Well, you probably will to get past the finish and get your bags and stuff.
I'm totally not doing an extra mile. No chance.
Do you have any sights on any times or any aspirations, or do you just want to enjoy the atmosphere that comes with the great
I just want to enjoy the atmosphere. I think last year I'd hoped to sort of beat the time that I did before, and I think I did by a tiny smidge, but honestly it was seconds. And I find myself going into this year, I'm not bothered. I think the biggest thing about the Great North Run is the crowds. So you've got this amazing route. You start in the city, you come across the bridge, and if you are from this region, running across that bridge is just like it's an incredible experience. And then the crowds carry you, and then you get to the end, you look straight down to the sea, and then you've got a whole another mile to go. And I just think I could have probably kicked the arse out of it, tried to get a time, but I wouldn't enjoy it as much as just, enjoying the route.
I know, and I think that is something that I really want to touch on, is the difference that the Great North Run and what Brendan and John have done in building it up, the difference that that's made to this community, because it's always been an area that's got running and it's really understood running, but the Great North Run is just iconic. It's not even in the UK, around the world everybody knows about the Great North Run.
And obviously we've got to give amazing credit to Great Run, because they put on an amazing event. And that will be one reason why loads of people come. It's probably one of the reasons that elites like yourselves come and want to run in and win the Great North Run. But I think the reason that 60,000 people come and do this run is because of the welcome they get. It's because of the pride that they feel in the place from the people that lined the streets. Last year it was pretty horrible weather, and it was one of those things where you finish and you're like, oh my gosh, that was just like awful. You're absolutely saturated. And then as the year goes on, you sort of forget about all the hard bits and just the bits you enjoyed. But I was watching some clips back yesterday of the finish, and everyone is completely saturated. And so you'd think that people wouldn't turn out, but they do. It's still 5 deep on the side of the roads. They're still handing out the Haribo. They're still shouting names. And I love the fact that everyone's got their name on the front. And so you can hear people shouting people on. And like, everybody wills 60,000 people to the end, whether they're a charity runner or whether they're kind of running to win, and it's amazing. It's like something I'm just so proud of it every year.
But also we mentioned as well, right now out the window is all the kids running
all
day.
I know.
Just thousands of kids getting into running, parents and stuff. It's a weekend affair, and I think that's the thing that one of the things I love about it as well is how the community comes together, and there's just this buzz that goes on for like 3-4 days. And then the buzz continues when people go home of the medals and everything like that. But it does so much for everyone, I think.
Yeah, if you go out for tea tomorrow, today or tomorrow, everyone will be wearing a medal. It's like one of the major events of the whole year. It's a massive highlight for everybody here, and the number of people I know who are not runners, but they've wanted to get their kids active, and they've had their kids do the junior Great North Run, or they've thought, whether it be through work in a big group or whatever, they've thought, well, I'll do the 5K on the Friday night, and maybe I'll do the Great North Run next year. So many of my friends and colleagues and people I know, that's how they get into it. And I think if you'd asked me 10 years ago, I would never have said I'd ever do the Great North Run. But it's quite it's an institution in the region, and it's like a rite of passage, and you kind of have to do it once.
Well, I saw you in the shop yesterday, didn't I? And
for my impromptu personal shopping.
Yes, where you're getting your final like bits of kit for the weekend. But
I know you told me off. I'm not supposed to wear new kit.
Well, specifically socks. You want to wear them in. You don't want just fresh silky socks like rubbing and causing blisters. But the number of people in there that are the buzz of for the weekend on getting ready. But I was going to ask you about your tips for anyone who hasn't done it before around kit or anything, your tips for running and getting ready for the weekend.
Well, I mean, I have listened to your podcast quite a lot.
Thank you very much.
Well, and I found that it has been really good for those sort of just little tips. And we were joking yesterday that I changed the way I lace my shoes up, which is just, it's a tiny little thing, but it does stop you from getting blisters and getting sore top of your foot. And it's, I suppose, picking up those tips from people who know what they're doing when you can, and listening to them and trying to do them. But I suppose for me, I'm not a natural runner. I don't love it. I don't love the training. I'm really lucky because I live next to the coast, and so I do most of my training on the coastal path, and that kind of keeps you going, and it's lovely. And I suppose it's like if you're going to train for it, do it somewhere where you'll enjoy it. You know, try and not get yourself in too much of a stress about the fact that it's hard to fit them in around work. And this is probably not like the tips that you would be dishing out to the elite athletes, but what's the worst that can happen? I might walk some of it. That's cool. Like, it's going to be fine.
No, that's relevant. A number of times I would say to myself before a race, what's the worst that will happen? I'll still go home, have my dinner, and tomorrow I'll get up and just train again. It is definitely it's relevant to anyone and everyone.
It is just get out there and also set a goal that motivates you, like the Great North Run.
Yeah, and so for me, this is the only long run I'll do this year. I'll probably do the Kielder 10K. Well, I will do the Kielder 10K.
I'm doing the Kielder one.
Oh,
I'm doing the Kielder Marathon.
Amazing. Oh gosh, okay. Well, I won't be. But I'll be there to do
I feel
that.
left out. Do I need to do
You're very welcome.
I think it's women only this year. No, it's not. It's honouring women.
We're honouring women this year.
You can come.
Okay, I'm happy to honour women. It's fine. It's like,
and that's totally different because it's sort of a forest run, and it's gorgeous. A totally different thing.
Then.
But that, you know, this will be the longest run that probably I'll ever do. And so, I don't know, I think for me, I sort of want to be a person where the time motivates me, but it doesn't. It's just the atmosphere and enjoying it. And I probably wouldn't go and do a half marathon anywhere else. It has to be this.
I think when you've done it here, you've kind of gone in right at the top, haven't you? So
what I loved about yesterday, while we were having a chat with some of the elite runners who are taking part tomorrow, is how much they love it. So they come from all around the country, all around the world, and they love this. And honestly, the way that makes me feel as the mayor of this place, and the way that it makes all of those people who are out there either doing the junior run or the 5K or lining the route feel like it's a real point of pride for us.
It should be. It should be.
What I was going to ask you, what's your favourite memory of the GNR? Whether it's yourself or someone else, like what's your kind of standout memory you could?
I mean, I think the start line last year was great fun, and obviously, as I said, I wore the number one, and it was great to chat to all of the charity runners and find out what people are doing, because that's what I'm interested in, is people. And I think the most interesting thing about the Great North Run is those amazing stories. You know, we're highlighting that this year, 60,000 stories, and it's true, there really are unbelievable stories about people whose parents have done it. You know, they're the third generation of people who've done it. They're raising money for this or that, or running in memory of somebody, or wanting a PB, and there's so many different stories. But honestly, it's the bit where you run across that bridge, because that is iconic to us. And obviously it needs a bit of work. It's getting a bit of work with making sure that that's the case. But that is such an iconic thing. And every time you run across it, you know, people really you can feel the mood lift, and people lift their legs a bit higher.
You need to put it close to the end. We need to move it.
Move the bridge. Like, I'm quite good. I'm quite good at getting funding into this region, but I'm not that good for it, honestly. Like, there's a line. Also, I mean, down there we've got the beach.
Yeah, I know.
So and my least favourite bit is when you get to the beach, you turn left. And I've told Brendan this. There's an 800-metre sign, and you just have enough time to go, oh my gosh, it's only 800 metres, and then you go, oh my word, 800 metres is miles. and then you're like, oh God, look how far the gantry is. Just
Yeah.
and I remember that from both times I've done it.
Okay, fair enough. That's good.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you.
the very
Thank you.
best of luck
Thank
to
you.
you tomorrow and to the other mayor as well. And is there a little mayor's battle?
No, he probably will beat me, and I'm totally fine with that. But honestly, for me, it's just massive good luck to everybody running it tomorrow. They'll love it and just really enjoy it.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
so much, Kim.
Legend.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to Kim, and thank you once again to Great Run for letting us hijack their offices for a little bit and be able to bring you these podcasts from here. Just another reminder, I really do hope everybody that took part in the Great North Run, by the time this drops, of course, on the Monday afterwards, hope it went really well for you. We would love to hear from you how that went. Just please let us know. It can be a video message, it can be a voice message, it can be an email. Once again, that WhatsApp number is +44 7564 747 914. The email address is paulasrunclub@momentumbroadcast.co.uk. You can get in touch with us. You can tag us on socials as well. That is @paulasrunclub. Don't forget you can watch on YouTube. The main pod drops on a Monday. The weekly shakeout will drop on Thursdays. That is just about it from us today, apart from to remind you about the NordVPN.
Nord, yeah, don't forget.
That offer is still running, so you can head to nordvpn.com/Paula's Run Club. You can protect all your personal data, and you can keep watching all your favourite shows wherever you are in the world. And that wherever we are in the world will actually be me for the next couple of weeks, because I am off on Tuesday, tomorrow, to Tokyo for the World Championships. We will try and get you some little shakeout drops from there if we can fit that in. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you soon. This has been a Momentum Broadcast production. Thank you very much for listening to us, watching us. Thank you.
You're nervous about how I'm going to say.
Really well there.
No, you're fine. And that's all from us this week. Bye.
This has been a Momentum Broadcast production. Thank you very much for listening and tuning in to us this week. We will see you next week.
See you later.